I would like you to talk a little bit in details about the situation in sub-Saharan Africa. Where are we now? What specific policy recommendation do you have for Africa? And how should lenders and financial institutions, such as the IMF, respond? And how darkening is the overall situation in Africa? And if you can touch a little bit about the situation in the Horn of Africa, where we have the biggest humanitarian crisis in Ethiopia right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for asking this question, because of all regions in the world, Africa finds itself in the most precarious position. Why? Because Africa was already affected by food insecurity due to climate events. We sometimes forget that the Horn of Africa and the Sahel were experiencing food insecurity, and for Somalia there was already concern that may become very dramatic before the war in Ukraine. We also know that Africa is unfortunately where we were as a global community a bit slow to provide the necessary vaccination support to fight COVID. And as a result, we have the scarring from COVID in many countries more severe. Just think what it means for children that are out of school for 2 years to then try to resume classes. Many drop out, especially girls, and that can have implications for quite some time. But there are positive stories we can tell. Many countries in Africa over the last decade have built strong fundamentals. They have worked very hard to increase their tax to GDP ratio, so they have the financial capacity to support their economies and their people. And now they are faced with the need of the international community to stand by them. So what is our advice to Africa? First, do stick to prudent macroeconomic policies. What we have seen in the COVID crisis, countries that had strong fundamentals, like people with strong immune systems, they withstood the shock much better than others. Second, for this moment in time, if you are seeing problems on the debt side, act early. And as I said, 60% of countries are in or near debt distress. Do not hesitate. Do not wait. Third, use the support system that the multilateral banks and the IMF is providing for you. And there we are mobilizing very firmly. I mentioned the food shock window, but we are also moving in many countries with upper credit tranche programs. I met with a number of presidents and finance ministers from Africa to say, let's work together to come out of this tough time with even stronger position. And above all, it is so important that Africa doesn't waver from the big policy decisions like the Continental Free Trade Agreement to implement them, because there is so much Africa can do for Africa just by making it, removing obstacles to growth on the basis of African integration. My mantra has always been, what is the strength of Africa? Young population. How can you make use of this strength? Invest in young people, invest in digital connectivity, invest in competitiveness for the future.